Hey there, and welcome back to Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, the game! As you recall, in the last episode, we creaked and cracked with Grandpa Blackbird himself, Jetfire, who just barely held himself together. And now, we are back to continue our DLC dissection with a look at one of my personal favorite bonus skins for one of the main Autobot characters, G1 Colors Ratchet. This is personally one of the highlights of the entire DLC for me, because of how awesome this G1 deco translated over to the movie design. So let's blare those sirens and page Ratchet for his examination. And here we have G1 Colors Ratchet. An absolutely gorgeous reskin based upon the Rescue Ratchet repaint seen on the old 2007 Voyager mold. This deco beautifully adapts the rather crude construct of the toy onto a much more accurate representation of his robot mode. The textures of this new skin can be swapped over his original textures almost perfectly, with the only inconsistencies being some text decal additions that are completely unique to this skin. We shall cover those as well as any other standout deco changes now. Starting up at the head, the deco follows what you see on the original packaging art almost perfectly. He's got the red on the top and sides of his face, though the packaging art has a smidge more extra red on the top there, but I think this version looks a bit less overpowering with some silver color thrown in there to split it up. On top of that, he retains the white nose and chin, and the entirety of his rear head armor is also completely white. Since the original back of the head was made to include light piping, this seems like a fair extrapolation. Continuing down to the chest is where the design takes quite a few creative leaps, as the original Voyager's chest was completely upside down compared to the actual movie model's chest. But anyway, the top front armor is red with a little white border running along the outer edges. His front cage is actually a brighter silver color, similar to the actual Voyager figure. He's got a nice red pattern on his front fenders that strangely retain the shape of his original deco's red lifeline for some reason. He's also had his front blinker recolored to blue instead of the standard orange. This may take some loose inspiration from the original Voyager toy, but the blinker was still actually orange on the toy itself, and it was the actual headlight itself that was recolored to blue. Switching round to the back, he's got a nice arrangement of color for his rear armor panels. He's even got a new red ambulance text decal on his rear upper armor. And there's also a section of circuitry on the center of his upper back that, while typically goes uncolored on the standard Ratchet deco, for some reason has now been recolored to a new fainter red. And this isn't the only time you will see this specific change made to an interior section. Proceeding to the shoulders, they are colored primarily white, but have a nice thick streak of red running across the outer side of the armor. And even have another new white ambulance text decal to mirror what is seen in vehicle mode. Interestingly, he also has some new silver rings around his upper cage lights, which were not present on the original skin, but these details are indeed accurate to the source vehicle. He's also received some new red color on some of his inner circuitry, similar to what we saw on his upper back. The arms are again primarily white, but strangely still retain an outline of their original deco's lifeline stripe on the bottom of his arms. He also has a small section of red added to his inner circuitry, and his hands, like the toys, are fully red, though he strangely has some small side sections of his fingers that evidently weren't colored properly and thus clash with the rest of his hands. But unless you're looking real scrupulously, you're not very likely to notice. The hips follow the toy deco fairly closely. The top section is white, the middle is the standard darker color, though the figure had it colored white as well, and the bottom is colored a slightly fainter red compared to the standard red seen on the toy. Switching around to the back, the rear hip section is also the same faint red color. This particular detailing was absent on the toy, but since it was a change seen on the front, it makes sense to include it on the rear as well. The thigh armor is also generally entirely white, though there are a couple slim red streaks lining the rear sides. A detail obviously absent from the toy deco, but there were obviously going to have to be some liberties taken when translating the deco onto a more complex model. The knees have received quite a supplement of red detailing, especially on the inner sides, similar to what you have on the original Voyager toy, crude as it may be. There is also a distinct red streak lining half of the knee pads, and the rear armor has some distinct white lining, likely included to imitate the lifeline seen in vehicle mode. Closing off at the feet, the majority of the armor is fully white, but he does have some bonus red applied to a centered metal section that previously went uncolored. Otherwise, nothing else too significant stands out here. So, G1 Ratchet looks like a pretty solid adaptation from the toy so far, and despite being a clone of his original counterpart, we shall still, all the same, provide a quick summary of his gameplay mechanics.
Time to get into character.
Starting with the health, G1 Colors Ratchet shares the same health values with his standard counterpart, that being 320 by default and 448 when fully upgraded. When it comes to movements, Ratchet naturally retains all the movements of the default character. He can walk, he can run, jump slam, which does 60 damage, and he can of course climb, though his side movements are for some reason quite slow. Moving over to ranged weapons, Ratchet retains the same weapon model as his default counterpart, a distinct hand-formed weapon that somewhat resembles the gun he had in the films, and it functions exactly the same as his standard in-game weapon. For his primary weapon, he has the multi-beam gun, which does 15 damage per shot and can be fired up to 35 times before overheating by default. Then, he has his secondary sticky grenades, which do 80 damage per grenade and can be fired 6 individual times before overheating. They can be charged to fire free grenades at once that do 240 damage combined and can be fired fully charged 3 times by default. And he can of course dodge roll to avoid enemy fire. When it comes to special abilities, Ratchet of course still retains his standard healing ability, which provides a healing circle that heals him and any nearby allies for about 5 seconds by default. Continuing on to melee, G1 Ratchet again shares the same damage values as his default counterpart, with the first hit doing 30, the second also doing 30, and the third hit doing 45, resulting in a total maximum damage of 105. Fully upgraded, however, the attacks can deliver a new maximum of 210. Ratchet can also perform the standard charged attack, where he readies his buzzsaw and does a snazzy torso twist that does 75 damage by default, but can deal 187.5 damage when fully upgraded. And that's all for G1 Ratchet's robot mode. Let's twist down into vehicle mode. G1 Colors Ratchet, transform! And here we have Ratchet's alt mode, his classic H2 Hummer rescue vehicle, now striking a vibrant G1-inspired red and white deco based upon the Rescue Ratchet Voyager repaint figure. This has to be by far one of my absolute favorite takes of a G1-inspired deco on a movie-based character. It looks incredible here, and it still looks just as great as it did on the original 07 figure, despite how dated the mold is. He strikes the signature red pattern running up the sides, with the lifeline details inside that wrap all the way around the vehicle and imitate what is seen on the Voyager figure pretty darn well. Of course, there is one standout issue that I really need to address before we dive into the rest of his details. For some unfortunate reason, the majority of Ratchet's vehicle material is using the spec texture of his robot mode and not his vehicle mode, which sadly means you can see large portions of his robot texture across his entire vehicle mode. And while it isn't too terribly obvious, it's apparent enough that once you see it, you'll probably never be able to unsee it. But, that aside, let's go through him and see what other distinctions he's donning. Starting up at the front, he has a new silver cage around his front grille, which is clearly inspired by the Voyager figure. Like robot mode, his front blinkers are now blue, as opposed to the orange of the original vehicle, which, for the record, the toy actually didn't have orange either. He's also got some silver rings on the front bumper lights that technically shouldn't be silver, but the textures are shared with the top roof lights, so that's likely why that change was made. Up further along the hood, he has a new red ambulance text decal, similar to what you see on the actual toy. The side doors have a new white ambulance text decal that fills out the bottom of the red siding quite nicely. Fun fact, this and his hood logo both share the exact same texture, but the red hood decal actually gets its color assigned by an in-game material, which I thought was rather interesting. Though I should mention, the inner sides are missing any trace of red lining between the door and the cabin, leaving it as just a blank white space. So, that's unfortunate. Up at the roof, his front sirens have been recolored from red to a beautiful bright blue, a feature loosely inspired by the original toy. Granted, its original sculpt was rather crude. It's interesting that unlike the front cages, the roof rack is still colored black, and not the same silver as seen on the Voyager figure. I'm curious why only the front cages had their color changed and the rest did not, but all in all, that's a really minor nitpick. It's also interesting to note that he's received a couple slight color changes to his side lights. First, the red light, which was originally colored silver in the middle, now has a surprising chartreuse color taking its place. Then, the light to the side of that, which was once simply silver, is now another beautiful bright blue. There's no references to this color on the original vehicle, so it must have been a simple creative touch. Nothing wrong with mixing it up a bit, though. Wrapping around to the back of the Hummer, there is a new white ambulance text decal lining the center of the doors. Since there was no real detailing for this toy on the original Voyager figure, I think they extrapolated a pretty good look for it. Interestingly, there is one additional bit of trivia for this section. Despite not showing up on the actual texture, nor having any actual visual traces in-game, G1 Colors Ratchet actually does retain the mesh for his 681 designation on his rear bumper. But either the 681 texture wasn't applied to his ambulance texture, or the older material was never carried over to the new one. Either way, fun little tidbit, huh? Finally, finishing off with a quick glimpse inside, his cab is pretty basic, just a couple chairs and a bit of a dashboard. Nothing too special. If we were to pull back and take a look inside the module, you'll find just a jumbled mess of junk, meant to somehow resemble Ratchet's robot parts. But since it's using his vehicle material, it isn't going to look like anything remotely coherent. Well, that's all for the vehicle visuals. Let's talk gameplay. Ratchet has a standard speed of around 78 miles per hour. He can boost, which gets him up to around 90 miles per hour. He can power slide. For weapons, he can fire sticky bombs that now do 60 damage per hit and can be fired 10 times before overheating by default. And he can, of course, reverse as well. Moving on to advanced maneuvers, he can perform all free maneuvers just like his default counterpart. He can perform the advanced jump, the advanced melee attack, which does 100 damage by default, but when fully upgraded, can deal 180 damage. And of course, there is the advanced ground pound, which also does the same standard 100 damage. For transformations, he has all the standard stuff. He has the stationary transformation, the forward transformation, and the quick reverse transformation. Yep, all the same stuff. It is now time for him to take an emergency call. And I can only think of one place that I'd really like to see this character perform where he normally could not before. So let's go there and see what this bot could do.
Let's make this count.
And that is, of course, riding shotgun. I'm willing to bet this mission was just made for him. If you could have taken him, I have no doubt you could score both bonus objectives. And that is my goal for this mission. Let's see how it goes.
Escort, this is Sergeant Epps riding shotgun on Cargo 37. It looks pretty quiet, but stay ready. Anything can happen.
All right, let's move.
We've got a problem here. The road is blocked. Can you clear us a path?
I'm on it. Take it.
Thanks for the help.
Oh, sniper incoming. All right, let's stick it to the man. Oh, skill shot one. All right, hit him again.
It's an ambush!
Oh, gotcha. Okay, time to skewer some scouts. Come on. Oh, double. Nice hit.
Convoy on the move.
The roadblock. Should do it. Good. Oh, another chopper inbound.
Decepticon soldiers inbound.
Yes, I can see that. Pop. Hit him again. Take this, snipey. Come on. Eat it, sniper man. Now I gotta charge. Ooh, it's coming down. Yes! Where are you going,
Close
punk?
to the truck, Autobot. You've got to protect our weapon.
I'm fine. Cool. What? Oh, I got it. Whoosh. Better heal him up. You're gonna get into that zone with 90% health, buddy.
Get back to the truck. We can't lose that weapon.
It's fine. Where'd he go? Oh, he's going up.
Your mission is to escort the truck, not to go freelancing for Decepticons.
Can't do both? Oh, perfect. He's right there. That's enough.
Convoy on the move.
All right, nice. Heal up, mate.
This is cargo 37.
All right, another
We're
group
under
inbound.
attack.
Let's hit it. Stick it to him. Yeah. Down that barrier. Skill shot.
Good work, Patches.
Hanging up there. All right. Pop. Boom.
Took care of
All
that.
clear.
Moving out.
Better heal him. I gotta stay at 90. Dang it. All right, Scout. Come and get it. Pop ya. Oh, gotcha. Stupid cars. Excuse me.
Ambush. Protect the car.
Okay, you all right there, Ratchet? Maybe you need a checkup. Ah,
This is getting good.
let me get it, Con Man. Ah,
Convoy on the move.
all right, moving good so far. Got it.
Additional hostiles are still in
fall
the
back.
area. We can't
Let's spawn
move
this
until
guy.
it's safe.
Come on.
Hit those Decepticons with everything.
Pop.
Guard the truck, Autobot.
Coming
We can't
for you.
afford to lose the Axiom.
Oh, gotcha. All right, hang on. I'm gonna install that spawn. All right, dude. Yes. Nice hit.
Moving out.
Nice. Let's keep going.
We can't move. It's not safe. The area's still not clear.
It's fine. Ah. Hi, what are you doing over there? Weak. Here. Oh, dang it. Come back here. Oh, bad move.
Decepticons with everything.
Convoy
This
en
scrap. Heal up. Nope. Oh. Train.
Hostiles still in the area. We'll move when it's safe.
We'll just move now and save even trouble. Get him.
Back to the truck. The
Go
Axiom
on.
must be protected.
Alright, now I gotta deal with this clown. Heal up. Alright, you. How much of a
Stay
pain are
close
you
to
gonna
the
be
truck,
this
Autobot.
time?
You've got to protect our weapon.
Fine.
Hit him.
Okay, fine, fine. Let me take care of the skill shot and this
I'm on
barrier.
this. Good work, Patches. Now, get back to the truck. We can't lose that weapon.
Yeah, I'm here. There's that clown. Kill that.
Enemy unit taking damage.
That dude's on his way. Better deal with him first. Come and get it, Con.
Decepticon wounded.
Come on. Get that. Oh, nice hit.
Bet you thought this would be easy. Your mission is to escort the truck, not to go freelancing for Decepticons.
Yeah, Ratchet, listen to yourself.
This is cargo 37. We're under attack.
Oh, just drive, you doofus. This guy down.
Ambush, protect the cargo.
Oh, you little devil. This can't be a painted
They're
charge.
opening fire at the truck.
They're fine. Alright, bring them on. Pop. Come into my buzzsaw, stupid. Dang it! Ah. Where is that
Guard the truck,
stupid?
Autobot. We can't afford to lose the Axiom.
I got a con to cut down. Just
They've armed their weapons and are firing.
give me a minute. I want this guy dead.
For the assistance. Convoy on the move. It's an ambush.
I'm right here.
Back to the truck. The Axiom must be protected.
Okay, I guess this is kind of bugged for some reason.
This is Cargo 37. We're under attack.
I'm right here. Honestly, are you blind?
Ambush, protect the cargo.
I'm right here. I gotta hit overdrive.
This is getting good now.
Final skill shot.
They're opening fire at the truck.
Yeah, that
Additional
works.
hostiles are still in the area.
Get 'em.
Can't move until it's safe.
Base Decepticon.
Die.
wounded.
Die,
They've
Colin,
armed
die.
their weapons and are firing.
Break it. Pop. Pop. Uh-oh.
Ambush.
Come on. Ah, scrap. This could be bad.
This is Cargo 37. We're under attack.
Quit yelling at me. Go down now. Ah,
Ambush,
gotcha.
protect the cargo.
Ooh. Bad.
They're opening fire at the
Stay
truck.
active.
We are taking fire.
Quit yelling. Oh, overdrive. Yes.
Took care of that. Moving out.
They've armed their weapons
Get
and
outta
are
here.
firing. This is more
Oh, I don't think you hit
than I
90.
thought.
Stop. Stop.
It's an ambush.
I am right here. You are not going anywhere until you are fully healed, mate. I've not come this far just to lose you to be having low health.
This is Cargo 37. We're under attack.
Shut your mouth. You ain't going nowhere until you're 90% or better.
Ambush, protect the cargo.
I'm right here. My assessment? You are insane.
They're opening fire at the truck.
No, they're not. Okay, go.
Escort.
Oh.
This is Cargo 37. The rabbit is in the hole. Repeat, the rabbit is in the hole. We'll take it from here. Thanks.
They've armed their weapons and are firing. The convoy is safe for now. The Axiom appears intact and operational.
After all that, it better be. Ugh. Well, I think overall Ratchet did pretty well there. Yeah, there is no way you can get that health bonus objective without him. It's just not gonna happen. You wanna get both of the charge takedowns and getting that health objective, you gotta take them. Not sure why you couldn't take it for this, but you know, maybe it adds more challenge. Whatever, we got it, it's done. Let's close it off. Okay, and there you have G1 Colors Ratchet. Yeah, despite some pesky visual problems, he's still one of the best looking skins I've seen. He adapts the toy's deco incredibly well, and he looks absolutely incredible. Yeah, I absolutely love this skin. Well, we have one more movie-based character to cover for the DLC, another reskin. One I've technically covered already, but one I will revisit nonetheless. So, I will see you in the next episode where we get stealthy. Till then, Ratchet!
You suck at this.